Good morning. Today, I have the greatest honor of introducing my biggest role model, my biggest supporter, my dad. All my life, he has taught me to never be afraid, to never let the fear of failure hold me back from achieving what I want to do. His mantra that is now my own is, "What would you do if you weren't afraid?" I hope you think about these words as he teaches you one of the many lessons he has taught me. Please stand as you are able and greet my father, Shin.
All right, please be seated. I need to earn that applause. Can you guys hear me okay? Well, good morning. Let's try that again. Good morning.
Good morning.
Everyone raise your hands if you enjoyed these 4 days off. I did too. Raise your hand if you're glad to be back at school. Okay. Why is it just the teachers raising their hands? Raise your hands if you think 35 years is a long time. I think it's a real long time. Well, 35 years ago, I was sitting right there with you guys. I was a senior at the Episcopal Academy, trying to figure out what I was going to do for the last 6 months to make sure that I made it to graduation. Filled with excitement, filled with fear, filled with hope, with a little bit of luck, I made it. I made it to graduation, June of 1985. I was closing one chapter in my life and moving on to my next, which was college. College was Texas Christian University, Fort Worth, Texas, where when I visited in February of 1985, it was 80 degrees. No one told me it would feel like 120 degrees in August when I went there. I hopped on a plane, packed 2 bags, carried my lacrosse stick, flew down to Texas. I landed at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. I hailed a cab, and I said, "TCU, please." Cab took me to TCU, and I got out, and I was at college. I went to my dorm. I checked in. I went to orientation. I registered for my classes. And there I was, all by myself at TCU. I didn't know anybody there at that time. There was one person from EA that graduated 3 years ahead of me. He was at TCU. But he wasn't going to be there for another week. So I remembered over the summer that I received an invitation to a party, a fraternity party. It was that night. It was across the street from my dorm. I just got done taking my 3rd shower for the day because I did say it felt like 120 degrees. So I went to the party and I realized, wow, this is college. This is what I really had hoped for. I met all kinds of people from all over the country. I got involved with all kinds of activities. I tried out for the lacrosse team and I made it. I pledged a fraternity and everything was going great. My first year of college. Raise your hand if you think 1 year is a long time. I don't think 1 year is a long time either. But I came home from college after my first year, really excited to reconnect with my friends from high school. I got a job in construction. Started on a Friday, finished my first day at work, and me and my friends decided to go to the beach for the weekend. We packed up, hopped in our cars, and drove down to LBI. My memory isn't as great now as it used to be, but certain events of that weekend I remember like they happened yesterday. So Saturday we got to the beach, we hung out. Saturday night we went out and saw a movie. We saw Top Gun. Not sure if anyone really knows that movie in here, but it's a movie that made you want to be a fighter pilot. Sunday, we woke up, June 1st, 1986. Unusually hot that day for LBI in June, but all 3 of us went to the beach, played a little bit of football on the beach, and realized we were really hot and wanted to cool off. So, the 3 of us ran off the beach, dove into the ocean. something we had done hundreds of times at this beach through our high school years. But instead of diving into the wave, I dove over the wave. And it was instant. I hit something, and I hit it very hard. I opened my eyes, and it was silent. The silence of knowing that your head was underwater. I tried moving, and I couldn't do anything. And then I saw it. It was my arm floating in the water. Had my watch on it. I couldn't feel it. I couldn't move it. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't get my head out of the water, and I realized I was drowning. Next thing you know, or next thing I remembered, was my friend pulling me out of the water onto the beach. He pulled me up. I got out of the I was away from the water, and you remember him putting a blanket on me. I couldn't feel the blanket. I was terrified. I was scared. I didn't know what was going on. I remember they carried me into the ambulance. The ambulance took me for the ride to the hospital. And there were doctors running around, nurses running around, clothes being cut off, tubes being inserted everywhere, and then them coming to me and saying, "We're going to stick a tube in your nose. It's going to go into your lungs. It's going to help you breathe. But you're not going to be able to talk after that. Is there anything you want to say to your friends?" And I told my friends that I loved them and to call my mom. And so they got me ready to take a helicopter ride from the Jersey Hospital to Jefferson Hospital. And so on June 1st, 1986, I had broken my neck. And I got on the helicopter that care flighted me from the Jersey Shore to Jefferson University Hospital in Philadelphia, which is a 15-minute ride. When I landed at Jefferson Hospital in Philadelphia, I was greeted by the spinal cord injury regional trauma team and my mom. The first few days in what they call the neuro-intensive care unit were very hard. They put me on what's called a striker bed, which you lay on your back. And then every 2 hours, they come and they put another frame on top of you, on top of me. They strap it in really tight, and they flip you over. So now I'm looking at the floor. And I sat there for 2 hours looking at the floor. They would come back in, and then they would flip me back over, so I was looking at the ceiling. And this cycle happened for what I felt like was an eternity. It was a few days until I was strong enough, or at least well enough, for them to operate on my neck to stabilize the spine that I shattered in my neck. But after that, there was no more flipping. There was only trying to get better. And so as the days and the hours passed by, I got strong enough to go to rehabilitation. Where at rehabilitation, I had to learn everything again. I had to learn how to brush my teeth. I had to learn how to brush my hair, how to get dressed, how to get in and out of my chair. I had to learn and relearn so many different things about my new normal. A quadriplegic at the age of 19, paralyzed from the chest down. But at rehab, I learned a lot of things on how to get stronger. I learned how to become more independent. And fast forward 6 months, I got out of the hospital in December of 1986. My mom had the wherewithal to say, "You're not sitting around the house. You're going to go back to school." I said, "I really don't want to go back to school." She said, "You're going back to school." So I took a class at Villanova University in the spring of 1987. And I was back at TCU in the August of 1987. Back to college, reunited with my fraternity brothers, and back to being independent. I graduated TCU in Actually, I take that back. I did not graduate TCU. I transferred from TCU to the University of Texas at Arlington to compete in wheelchair sports. I competed nationally. I graduated from there in 1991. I went to law school at Southern Methodist University. Graduated there from 1994. Came back to the Philadelphia area. Took my first job as an assistant deputy mayor of the city of Philadelphia. It was a great job. After that, I spent 3 years as a trial attorney in Philadelphia. I went back to school at Georgetown, got my Master of Laws degree, and to this day, I work at one of the largest professional services firms in the world. I've done a lot to get to where I am. I'm married for 20 years. I have a daughter, as you know. I have a son who's sitting back there. And things are going well. I really don't have much to complain about. So you might think about this as a story of hope. You know, my hope of living. My hope of getting back to school. My hope of getting strong enough to be independent. Hope that my friends would still be my friends. Hope that you have when you think you have no hope. That's not really the point of my story. The point of my story is that this is really a story about you and about giving hope. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the doctors in the New Jersey hospital, the doctors in the helicopter, the nurses and the other doctors at Jefferson that gave me hope that I would survive. The therapist, the physical therapist, the occupational therapist who gave me hope that I would be strong enough to go back to school. My bosses and mentors throughout my life who gave me hope that I would have a meaningful career. And my family that gives me hope every day that tomorrow will be better than today. So as you leave here today, when you go back to your next class, when you go back to your daily routine, think about giving hope to somebody. I guarantee you that at some point in your life, you will have an opportunity to give somebody hope. By doing that, you will be finding a purpose beyond just yourself. You'll be taking what you've learned here about respect, about faith, about kindness, about gratitude, and you'll be putting that into action. And by doing that, that's really hope that doesn't disappoint. In silence, let us reflect on what we've heard.